Can we hear from Steve Sarkisian yesterday talking about the Alabama offense and one Jalen Milroe from Katy Tompkins High School here in the great state?
Well, Jalen's a fantastic player. I got a chance to recruit him out of high school. He's got a dynamic arm. He can make every throw in the book, off platform, on the run, doesn't matter. He's a tremendous runner. He's an elite runner with the ball in his hand, with his speed and his physicality. And he's highly competitive. He's a really good leader. And the thing probably that concerns me the most about that is they're very balanced. They can run the ball with the runner. They've got really good speed on the perimeter with Isaiah Bond and Jermaine Burton and that crew that they have there. They utilize their tight ends, and they got a physical offensive line. And so you put all that together, and then ultimately the threat of the quarterback run. They've got a multitude of quarterback runs, whether they're zone reads, power reads, quarterback direct runs, quarterback scrambles on third downs. That's probably the biggest thing that's the toughest to prepare for, that we're going to have to spend extra time of how do we control and contain the quarterback with his legs. The rest of the offense is the offense which you see, and it's good, and it's very well designed, and they've got really good pieces. But the quarterback run, and they're going to run the quarterback. It's not a secret. What they did in week one is we're going to get something different, and that's okay. But making sure that we are accounting for number 4 in all of the quarterback run games is going to be a real key to the drill.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the biggest factor to account for in the game, in the matchup, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Because it's going to be really tough. It's tough either way to try to defend a dual threat quarterback, but you have to devote a player to do it. Just him in the run game, every time you have to have a player who is now assigned to the QB, which takes away your numbers advantage you'd usually have, right? And Sark talks about having a numbers advantage. You do that by, forcing the offense to double team guys like Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy, and playing more man-to-man defense. That way you can use that extra guy you gain in the numbers advantage there, whether it be on the line or whether it be in the secondary, and devote them to stopping the run, or put that guy as a free safety on the back end. But if they go empty, and all your DBs are now assigned in coverage, and then now you got a spy on Jalen Milroe, man, a lot of your resources are exhausted. And from down to down, all you need is one guy to miss an assignment or to be late on an assignment or miss a tackle on that quarterback, and you can see big runs, big gains. So that it is a concern. And that offensive line for Bama, Tech's offensive line is really big, averages 6'4", 324. The Bama O-line averages this is crazy. 6'5", 340.
Yeah, 339 is what I saw.
339, yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Big boys. Big humans.
Big humans.
Well, but, if he is a factor, without a doubt. And I'll say this for Jalen Milroe. And we saw him last year when Bryce Young got hurt and he had to come in. And that was, he's a better player this year, you have to assume, than he was even at that moment. But he was rattleable, right? Yes, he can run. And a lot of times, Rod, he wants to run.
He does want to run.
So how do you make him a passer, right? You want to make him try to beat you with his arm, because he's not Bryce Young throwing the ball yet. He's not Bryce Young with the accuracy. You just heard Sark say he's got an elite. He can make every throw, but sometimes it's inaccurate, especially if you speed up his clock. And that's what the Texas defensive coaching staff has to come up with in the pressure packages, because if you can speed him up, and make him throw and not let the run game be his feature, you have a chance, a real good chance, I think, because he has not shown he's a polished enough thrower, kind of like Jalen Hurts when he was young in his Alabama career, right? You could make him a thrower.
Coming, yeah.
If you could make him a thrower, you had a chance, and that'll be the Texas assignment on defense, and it looks like they may have the personnel to do it. Wanted to hear, because the other side of that ball is, Texas' biggest assignment is Jalen Milroe. Alabama's biggest assignment is Quinn Ewers, and you know that Nick Saban is trying to make Quinn Ewers beat him and give him exotic looks and make him rattled, which he has shown prone to do. Here's Sark after watching the film, what he thought of Quinn Ewers and his performance on Saturday.
I think there's just a level of confidence in Quinn that's different. A year ago, he's making his second career start and probably still learning our offense, quite frankly, and the nuances of our offense. I think there's a level of confidence in him this year around and focused in on, how does he operate plays in the system in a way to help the other guys, and not because he's got a pretty firm grasp of what he's doing. But to me, the biggest thing showed up Saturday with just the maturity, the way he rebounded coming out of halftime after a couple frustrating things. I know the quarterback takes a lot of the brunt of when things aren't just clicking smoothly on offense. But we blew some protections that weren't on him, and he took some unnecessary hits and sacks that weren't on him. We didn't run a couple routes very well, especially on a couple deep balls when you go back and watch the tape, and how we ran them. And then the throw looks errant, but quite frankly, the route wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be either. And so, but that's the life you live as a quarterback, right? You assume the blame, right? And then you give the praise when it's good. And so, but for Quinn, that didn't rattle him. You know, we got back at halftime, we got things kind of rectified, and came out and played a really clean first 3 drives there in the second half. So I think that he's in a good space and ready to go this week.
All right, that's the battle of quarterbacks, Rod. Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe.
I agree that, that is the quarterback position. I also think in the second half, a lot of the game plan was built around the strengths of your young quarterback, the RPO game, the quick game, short intermediate throws. And when he is allowed to do what is kind of the strength of his skill set, allowed to execute what is the strength of his skill set, he's more confident.
Yes,
he's throwing with more confidence. When he's got to throw deep balls, he's not throwing with confidence. He knows the numbers. He knows he's not a good deep ball thrower. You think we're telling him something he don't know? You know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And when you're doing something you're not good at, aren't you insecure about it? Aren't you a little bit like hesitant, like, I'm not good at this, but I'm gonna go out there and do it anyway. But when you're doing something you're good at and you know you're good at it, oh man, the confidence you have. You know what I mean? And
whatever happened to Quinn throwing them bombs? Come on, man.
Yeah, see how misinformed that was? Like, we didn't even know who Quinn was at the time. Throwing them bombs? What bombs? What you talking about, man? No, we don't need them throwing no bombs.
Short game, quick game. Get it out of his hand.
Short game. Yeah, that was it was fun to talk about, but no. Nobody's talking about that anymore. So I think you need to have him doing things he's confident in, which is a short, quick, and the intermediate game. And I think you're going to see that versus Bama. You're going to see it in spades. Tons of it.
Well, and as you said, and Rod does the deep dive like no other, only one quarterback run out of empty play out of empty for Alabama. There'll be more of
Just
that.
One.
And then for Sark, I mean, we talk about vanilla game plans. Texas completed one pass to a receiver who was in motion. That's going to be different. And the guy that's going to be in motion a lot in this game, I believe, is Xavier Worthy, who becomes an X factor. And the quick game can be to X-Man because he's off to a good start, had 90 yards in receiving on Saturday. Here's Sark yesterday talking about X-Man. At the end of last year, a lot of boo birds in the Alamo Dome for Xavier Worthy. He had his bad body language, had the injured hand, but Sark has been glowing of his praise for his young wide receiver so far through camp and into this season.
I think, I'm glad you guys kind of got a glimpse of that Saturday. I just feel like he's had an awesome offseason. He really has recommitted himself to his regiment, to his teammates, to the program. I think the guy's having more fun now than he's ever had here playing football. And I think he's playing fast with energy. I think he's got good leadership. Quite frankly, in the third quarter, I felt like he kind of ignited the offense with the punt return. He made a couple nice plays on the perimeter. Then ultimately, that opens up AD for a touchdown. It opens up JT for a touchdown. And so I just think what he's providing day in and day out, nothing changes for him. He's the first guy on the practice field every day. He's one of the last ones to leave. He sits in the front row in every meeting. He takes great notes. But the personality of him is really back out. He's smiling so much more. You can almost feel like there's a weight lifted off his shoulders, and he's enjoying playing the game, and he's reaping the benefits of it. But we are too. Yeah, we're getting the best version of him right now, which is a really good version.
One of those games, Rod. It's a showcase game for everybody, right? I mean, the eyes of the nation will be watching, and we just saw Deion Sanders with the eyes of the nation watching his team, and a guy like Travis Hunter absolutely balled out, and he's the talk of the nation now. This is the kind of game where you create those reputations, and everybody will be paying attention on Saturday.
Yeah, and X-Man will be going up against an All-American, some of those snaps in Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'm assuming, for Alabama.
He left the game on Saturday with a minor injury, but they think he's going to be okay.
I watched it. Basically, that was a targeting or something that he got hit at one point, and I think it was like a I don't know if it was a concussion or what he was diagnosed with, but it was, yeah, so I think he's going to be fine.
Okay.
Based on what I saw.
Kool-Aid is a first-round draft pick type player on the outside.
Yeah.
And he's got a great name.
It is a good name. They'll end up matched up a couple of times, and that'll be kind of one of the highlights. And for X-Man, that's where you go make your money. I mean, that's a corner that's going to be drafted in the first round. You go out there and make him look silly, put him in the spin cycle a couple of times, and NFL scouts will be drooling.
Yeah, they'll all be there, by the way.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
This is one of those head-to-head matchups they
Eyes
want
of the
to
nation.
see.